loves, welcome back again to my channel. My name is Jenny. So today's video is the cutting and sewing of this 720-degree flare. As you can see, it has 2 layers of flare. So if this interests you, don't forget to subscribe, hit on the subscribe button, and also turn on your notification bell so that whenever I post a new video, you'll be the first to be notified. So let's get into it, guys. Welcome back again, soulmates. So guys, this is the fabric I'm going to be using. This is an Ankara fabric and I have 4 yards of this Ankara fabric. So this is my gum stay. So I'm using the ad gum stay for this tutorial. Okay, so let's get into the calculation part. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get the waist. The waist is 47 inches. Remember, this has 2 layers of flare. So the length for the short flare is going to be 7 inches plus 1 inch stitching allowance. Then for the long one is going to be 9 inches plus 1 inch stitching allowance. To calculate 360-degree flare, what you are going to do is to add 2 inches to your waist measurements, then you divide it by 4 inches. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. So after dividing, we got 12.25. so that is going to be the radius. Okay, now to calculate for 720-degree flare without a pleat, what you are going to do is to add 2 inches to your waist measurement. So the waist measurement is 7 plus 2 inches, which is 49. So divide it by 4. So after getting your answer, you are going to divide it again by 2. Okay, so the reason why we are dividing it by 2 is because we are cutting out 360-degree flare into 2 places. Okay, so you can see, so when you cut it out into 2 places, you are going to get 720-degree flare. Okay, so this is what we are having. So if you are cutting 360-degree flare into 3 places, what you are cutting out is 1080 kind of flare. Okay, so if you are cutting out your 360-degree flare into 4, what you are cutting is 1440 kind of flare. Okay, so I don't know if you understand. So for today's tutorial, we're going to cut out 720-degree flare with a pleat. So the flare is going to have a pleat because I actually want to pleat some part of that flare. Okay, so what you are going to do is to add 5 inches to your waist measurement, then 2 inches stitching allowance. Okay, so I forgot to add my stitching allowance, so go ahead and add 2 inches stitching allowance plus 5 inches, which is going to be for the pleats. Okay, so after doing that, you're going to divide it by 4. Okay, so after dividing it by 4, whatsoever you get, you divide it by 2 again. Okay, so after doing that, what I got was 6.5 for the radius. So please don't forget the length of the flare. Okay, so after getting the calculation part, the next thing we are going to do is to fold the fabric into 4, like the way we normally fold our 360-degree flare. Okay, so after getting that, go ahead and make a rough sketch like this, a curve at that point, so you can see. So after getting that point, what you are going to do is to go ahead and cross-check what you have at that rough curve you made at the point of the radius. Okay, to see if it actually what you want for the radius. So remember, we are working with 6.5 inches. Okay, so after doing that, now I'm still trying to go down more because what I was getting was around 7.5 to 7 inches. So what I wanted is 6.5 inches. Okay, so you can see the third curve actually gave me the 6.5 inches. Okay, so the third curve now is going to be the radius, which is 6.5 inches. Okay, so don't forget to add your stitching allowance to your waist measurements when you are getting your radius. Okay, so after doing that, guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to determine the length of the flare. So we are cutting out the shorter flare, which is 7 inches plus 1 inch stitching allowance, which is 8 inches. So this is what you see me marking all around like this. Okay, so you can see. So after doing this, I'm going to just cut it out. So guys, after cutting it out, go ahead and cut it out again so that you can have about 2 of this flare, okay? So which is going to be the 720-degree flare. So now to fold the flare, let me use this paper to illustrate. Fold it into 2, then you are going to fold it again, so making 4 times. So after that, I'm going to still fold it again because I want to cut out the long flare, okay? And I'm cutting out the 2 long flare at the same time. So that is what I'm trying to show you, okay? So I'm cutting out the 2 long flare at the same time. So what you are going to do now, after doing the folding part, go ahead and place the smaller flare on it like this to trace out the radius part. So the radius of the long flare and the shorter flare is going to be the same, okay? So except the flare length. So the flare length for the long part is going to be 9 inches plus 1 inch stitching allowance, making 10 inches, okay? So this is very easy to get. So after that, go ahead and cut this out. So remember, I'm cutting out the 2 flare for the long flare, okay? So you can see what we are having. So I cut it out at the same time, and this is what we are having, like so. So you can see we have 2 of the long flare. So go ahead and cut out the other smaller flares so that you can also have 2 of the smaller flare, okay? So after doing that, guys, I've gone ahead to add my gum stay to that. So I added the gum stay to the lining part. So after that, I went ahead to turn it at the bottom part. So place the lining on the right side of the fabric and go ahead and stitch it out. So after stitching, guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to open it up. Make sure you iron properly, okay? So open it to the right side of the fabric. So after doing that, now I'm going to join this flare together. So this is the shorter flare. So I have 2 of it. Go ahead and join it like this, fabric to fabric, lining to lining, okay? So make sure you are stitching at the wrong side, that is the inner side of the flare. So after doing this, guys, this is what I'm having. You can see. So this is just the smaller flare. So you can see, so the 2 flare I cut out for the smaller one, I've joined them together. Now this is the bigger flare. You can see I've also gone ahead to join it together. So go ahead and place it this way. So after joining it together, I'm going to just place the smaller flare on top of the bigger one to get the layer, okay? So like I said earlier, the waist part is going to be the same. So after joining it together, you can see what we are having at this part. This is the inside. You can see I've joined the smaller flare on the bigger flare and we are having just one piece now. So after doing this, guys, the next thing we are going to do now is to go ahead and attach it to the dress we are making, okay? So guys, this is what we are having. You can see how beautiful it's looking. You can see after joining everything. Now this is it. So this is the top. It's an off shoulder top I'm making. So I'm going to be attaching the flare on this top. You can see. So if you have not seen the drafting and the cutting part of this top, please go ahead and check it out. So I will just take it to my stitching machine and I'm going to join it like this. So right side facing, and pick the midpoint of the flare and place it on the midpoint of the top. Then you stitch it up to the zip area, okay? So guys, after stitching, this is what we are having. So this tutorial is a very short one, okay? So this is it. I just want to show you how to do this, how to cut your 720-degree flare with a pleat. So this is it after attaching it. So make sure you pleat the excess, okay? So make sure you pleat any excess you have at that part. So this is what we are trying to achieve. You can see how the flare is standing properly. So guys, this is my client. When I went to meet her for our first fitting in her shop, this is what it's looking like. So this is the first fitting, okay? So guys, I hope this video was interesting. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Bye.